The 17th century, a time of exploration, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of new beginnings. Across the Atlantic, a vast continent beckoned, a land shrouded in mystery, ripe with promise and teeming with untold dangers. This was the New World, and for European powers it represented a chance for wealth, religious freedom, and a reshaping of the world order. England, in particular, saw an opportunity to challenge its rivals and establish a dominant presence in this new frontier. Driven by a thirst for adventure and economic hardship at home, English explorers embarked on perilous journeys across the treacherous ocean. They faced storms, disease, and the unknown, their ships laden with hopes and dreams. These voyages were not merely about claiming land or amassing riches, though those desires certainly played a part. They also represented a search for new possibilities, a chance to escape the rigid social structures and religious persecution that plagued Europe. The lure of the New World was a powerful force, attracting settlers from all walks of life. Farmers seeking fertile land, merchants chasing lucrative trade routes, and religious groups yearning for freedom, all were drawn to the shores of this uncharted territory. Little did they know that their arrival would mark the beginning of a new chapter in human history, a chapter that would see the birth of a nation and the unfolding of a narrative filled with triumphs, tragedies, and the enduring legacy of the past. The first English settlements in the New World were fragile outposts clinging to the edge of a vast wilderness. Jamestown, established in 1607, stood as a testament to both the promise and the peril that awaited these early colonists. Disease, starvation, and conflict with the native inhabitants marked the early years of this fledgling colony. John Rolfe's introduction of tobacco cultivation provided a much-needed cash crop. Jamestown, though tested by fire, endured, becoming a symbol of the tenacity of the human spirit. The Pilgrims, fleeing religious persecution, landed on Cape Cod in 1620. Their journey aboard the Mayflower and their establishment of Plymouth Colony became a cornerstone of American identity. This interaction gave rise to the first Thanksgiving, symbolizing gratitude, community, and shared history. It is crucial to remember that the arrival of Europeans did not mark the beginning of history in North America. This land was already home to a rich tapestry of indigenous cultures, each with its own unique traditions, languages, and ways of life. For centuries they had thrived in this land, their lives intricately connected to the natural world around them. The arrival of Europeans, however, would forever alter the course of their history. The encounter between these two worlds was a complex and often tragic collision of cultures. Indigenous peoples, initially curious and sometimes welcoming, soon found their ways of life threatened by the relentless expansion of European settlements. Land disputes, cultural misunderstandings, and the devastating impact of European diseases led to tension, conflict, and ultimately, the displacement and dispossession of countless Native Americans. Yet, despite the often tragic nature of their interactions, indigenous peoples played a vital role in shaping the course of early American history. They possessed a deep knowledge of the land, teaching the newcomers essential skills for survival in this unfamiliar environment. Trade networks, alliances, and even conflicts between different indigenous groups influenced the balance of power among the European colonies. Their resilience, adaptability, and enduring legacy continue to be felt across the continent, a testament to the strength and richness of their cultures. The year is 1607. The Susan Constant, Godspeed, and Discovery navigate the James River. They aimed to establish the first permanent English colony in the New World. They called it Jamestown, in honor of their king. The early years were marked by hardship and despair. Mosquito-infested swamps bred diseases. Food was scarce and supplies dwindled. They faced resistance from the Powhatan Confederacy. The winter of 1609 brought the starving time. Desperate men resorted to eating leather and rats. Jamestown teetered on the brink of collapse. Section 2. The Legacy of Captain John Smith, Order and Discipline. Amidst the chaos and despair, a leader emerged from the ranks of the struggling colonists, Captain John Smith. A seasoned soldier and explorer, Smith possessed the grit and determination needed to forge a path through the darkness. Recognizing that their survival depended on order and discipline, he took command, imposing a strict code of conduct on the fractious colonists. "He that will not work, shall not eat," became his motto. a stark reminder that their survival rested on collective effort, not individual ambition. Smith understood that establishing relations with the Powhatan Confederacy was paramount to their survival. He initiated trade with the Powhatan people, exchanging European goods for desperately needed food. He learned their language, customs, and navigated the complexities of their diplomacy. This fragile peace, though tested by mutual suspicion and occasional skirmishes, proved crucial for Jamestown's survival, providing a lifeline during those critical early years. Smith's leadership was not without its challenges. He faced resentment from some colonists who chafed under his strict rule. His explorations of the surrounding areas, though vital for gathering information and seeking potential resources, were fraught with danger. In one such expedition, he was captured by the Powhatan and, according to legend, saved from execution by Pocahontas, the daughter of Chief Powhatan. Whether true or embellished, the story of Pocahontas became a powerful symbol of the complex relationship between the colonists and the Powhatan people. Despite his efforts, Jamestown remained a precarious outpost, clinging to existence by a thread. In 1609, injured in an accidental gunpowder explosion, Smith was forced to return to England for treatment. His departure left a void in leadership, and the colony once again teetered on the edge of collapse. Section 3. Tobacco's Grasp, Shaping a Colony's Fate. The year 1612 saw the arrival of John Rolfe, a young Englishman who would unwittingly alter the destiny of Jamestown and shape the future of the colony. Rolfe brought with him a new type of tobacco seed, a strain from the West Indies that proved to be more palatable to European tastes. This brown gold, as it came to be known, thrived in the Virginia soil, offering a glimmer of hope for the struggling colony. The cultivation of tobacco transformed Jamestown. Fields were cleared, planted, and harvested, the pungent aroma of drying leaves filling the air. The demand for tobacco in England soared, providing a much-needed source of income for the colony. Jamestown, once teetering on the brink, experienced a surge in growth and prosperity. Ships laden with tobacco sailed back across the Atlantic, their holds laden with the promise of wealth. However, this newfound prosperity came at a steep price. The labor-intensive nature of tobacco cultivation fueled a growing demand for workers. The first Africans arrived in Virginia in 1619, brought as indentured servants, their fate mirroring that of many poor Europeans who sought opportunity in the New World. However, the seeds of a more sinister system were sown. As the demand for labor grew, so too did the practice of slavery, casting a long shadow over the colony's future. The success of tobacco cultivation also had a profound impact on the colony's relationship with the Powhatan Confederacy. Land, once plentiful, became a source of contention as the colonists' insatiable appetite for acreage expanded. The fragile peace, carefully cultivated by John Smith, began to unravel, paving the way for future conflicts that would forever alter the landscape of the Chesapeake Bay. Section 4. Plymouth Rock, Seeking Refuge, Finding Hardship. While Jamestown struggled for survival in the South, a different kind of story was unfolding in the North. In 1620, a small ship called the Mayflower arrived off the coast of Cape Cod, carrying a group of English families fleeing religious persecution in their homeland. These were the Pilgrims, a group of Puritan separatists who sought to establish a new society based on their own religious ideals. Their journey across the Atlantic had been arduous, their small ship tossed about by storms and battered by the elements. Yet, they arrived at their destination, a desolate stretch of coastline they named Plymouth, with hearts filled with a mixture of trepidation and hope. The land was harsh and unfamiliar, the winter approaching with a vengeance. They had stepped into the unknown, their fate resting on their faith and their ability to adapt to this new, challenging environment. Before disembarking, the Pilgrim leaders, recognizing the need for unity and governance in this new land, drafted the Mayflower Compact. This document, signed by 41 men, established a framework for self-government, pledging to create just and equal laws for the good of the colony. It marked a significant step in the development of democratic ideals in America, a testament to the Pilgrims' belief in the power of collective decision-making. The first winter in Plymouth was brutal. The Pilgrims, weakened by their journey and ill-prepared for the harsh New England winter, faced starvation and disease. Many perished, their graves marking the unforgiving nature of this new land. Yet, amidst the suffering, their faith remained unshaken. They drew strength from their shared beliefs, finding solace in their community and their unwavering determination to build a new life free from religious persecution. Section 5. The First Thanksgiving, a symbol forged in adversity. As the harsh winter loosened its grip, hope emerged for Plymouth Colony. Spring brought new life and an unexpected encounter. Samoset, who knew some English, approached the colony. He introduced Squanto, who spoke fluent English. Squanto's knowledge was invaluable. He taught them to plant corn and navigate the land. He forged an alliance with the Wampanoag tribe. In fall 1621, they celebrated their first harvest. They feasted for 3 days. This became a symbol of cooperation and gratitude. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It represented gratitude, friendship, and hope. This event reminds us of early America's complex history. Section 1. The Rise of Massachusetts Bay, a city upon a hill. As Plymouth struggled, another group of English settlers arrived to the north with a grander vision. These were the Puritans, seeking to create a model society, a city upon a hill. They landed in 1630, establishing the Massachusetts Bay Colony, led by John Winthrop. Unlike Jamestown, driven by quick riches, the Massachusetts Bay Colony was founded on faith and community. Education was highly valued, with Harvard College established in 1636. The Puritans believed their success depended on their covenant with God. Shipbuilding, fishing, and trade flourished, shaping the New England economy for centuries. Section 2. John Winthrop's Vision, a Covenant with God. John Winthrop, the first governor, believed the Puritans were chosen by God to establish a beacon of righteousness. His sermon, a model of Christian charity, stressed unity and love, reminding Puritans they were a city upon a hill. Their success rested on their faithfulness to their covenant with God. This covenant demanded purity, free from heresy and dissent. Religious dissenters like Roger Williams and Anne Hutchinson were banished. Winthrop's vision fostered community and education, but also intolerance. It shaped American society, highlighting the importance of religious freedom and tolerance. Section 3. The Puritan Influence Shaping Society and Beliefs. The Puritan influence shaped every facet of life in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Education was paramount, with literacy rates soaring as towns established schools. Family life was highly structured, with the patriarch holding authority. Public displays of emotion were frowned upon, and leisure activities were viewed with suspicion. The Puritans' belief in predestination fueled a strong work ethic and community building. Their legacy is complex, emphasizing education, self-government, and community. However, their intolerance and rigid moral code remind us of the dangers of unchecked authority. Section 1. Growing pains, expansion, and conflict on the frontier. As the 17th century progressed, English settlements expanded, pushing inland. This expansion brought colonists into frequent contact with native inhabitants. The driving force was land, viewed as a symbol of prosperity and security. Colonists saw land as resources to be exploited, clashing with Native American views. The pressure on land intensified as the colonial population grew. New towns and farms disrupted traditional hunting grounds and migration routes. Tensions simmered, threatening to boil over into open conflict. Section 2. The Pequot War, a harbinger of conflicts to come. Tensions from colonial expansion erupted into the Pequot War in 1637. English colonists and their Native American allies fought the Pequot tribe. The conflict stemmed from trade disputes, territorial tensions, and cultural misunderstandings. The colonists responded to the death of an English trader with overwhelming force. Devastating attacks, including the Mystic Massacre, decimated the Pequot population. The war had a profound impact on colonist-Native American relations. It set a dangerous precedent for future conflicts, demonstrating the colonists' willingness to use force. While the Pequot War unfolded, a different conflict brewed in Virginia. Bacon's rebellion in 1676 exposed deep social and economic divisions. Falling tobacco prices, rising taxes, and a corrupt government fueled discontent. Nathaniel Bacon led a militia of poor farmers and indentured servants. They clashed with Native American tribes and the colonial government. The rebellion spiraled into chaos, burning Jamestown and forcing Governor Berkeley to flee. Although crushed, the rebellion left a lasting scar on Virginia society. It highlighted the deep divisions and unrest within colonial society. In 1675, Metacom's War, or King Philip's War, erupted in New England. Metacom, or King Philip, led a coalition of Native American tribes against the English colonists. Decades of encroachment and erosion of Native American lands fueled the conflict. Metacom united tribes to challenge the English hold on the region. The war was brutal, with devastating raids on English settlements. Colonists responded with equal brutality, destroying Native American villages. The conflict forever altered the landscape of New England. It highlighted the deep-seated tensions between Native Americans and colonists. The English monarchy sought greater control over its colonies. In 1686, the Dominion of New England was created under Sir Edmund Andros. The Dominion encompassed a vast territory, aiming to streamline administration. Andros dissolved colonial assemblies, imposed taxes, and enforced the Navigation Acts. His actions met widespread resistance, particularly in Massachusetts. Andros's heavy-handed rule alienated the colonists. He revoked land titles and restricted town meetings. His actions fueled resentment, setting the stage for future conflicts. Section 6. The Glorious Revolution's Ripple Effect, Colonial Autonomy Asserted. In 1688, the Glorious Revolution in England overthrew King James II. News of the revolution reached the colonies in 1689. In Boston, colonists seized the opportunity to reassert their independence. Andros was arrested, the Dominion dissolved, and colonial governments restored. The Glorious Revolution marked a turning point in colonial autonomy. The English Bill of Rights established limitations on royal power. These principles resonated in America, planting seeds for future revolution. The arrival of other European powers. The story of early America is often told through the lens of English colonization, but the reality is far more complex. French, Dutch, and Spanish explorers left an indelible mark, shaping North America's destiny. Diverse Native American nations became a chessboard of competing empires. This competition fueled alliances, rivalries, and conflicts that shaped nations. Fur trappers and the quest for a northern empire. The French, arriving in the early 17th century, carved out a different kind of empire. Driven by a thirst for beaver pelts, they ventured into the vast interior, forging alliances with Native American tribes. Samuel de Champlain played a pivotal role in establishing the French presence. He founded Quebec City in 1608, a strategic outpost. Champlain forged alliances with the Algonquin and Huron tribes, engaging in rivalry with the Iroquois Confederacy. The French fur trade had a profound impact on both European and Native American societies. Section 3. New Netherland, a Dutch hub of commerce and diversity. In the shadow of the growing English colonies to the north and south, a different kind of settlement emerged in the early 17th century, New Netherland. Established by the Dutch West India Company, a powerful trading enterprise, New Netherland encompassed a swath of territory along the Hudson River, including the island of Manhattan, where the bustling port of New Amsterdam became a center of commerce and a beacon of diversity. The Dutch, unlike the English who often sought to impose their religious beliefs on the native inhabitants, were primarily motivated by profit. They established trading posts, cultivated relationships with Native American tribes, and encouraged immigration from diverse backgrounds, hoping to attract settlers with the skills and ambition to transform this new land into a profitable enterprise. New Amsterdam became a melting pot of cultures, a stark contrast to the more homogeneous English settlements. Dutch, French, English, German, Scandinavian, and African settlers, both free and enslaved, created a vibrant and at times chaotic society. Religious tolerance, while not absolute, was greater than in many other colonies, with Dutch Reformed, Jewish, Quaker, and other religious groups coexisting within the colony's boundaries. This emphasis on commerce and tolerance, however, did not translate into peaceful relations with neighboring Native American tribes. Land disputes, trade rivalries, and cultural misunderstandings led to conflicts, most notably the brutal Kief's War, which decimated the Lenape population and left a legacy of bitterness and resentment. Section 4. Spanish Footprints, Missions, Settlements, and the Search for Gold. While the English and French were establishing their presence in the eastern half of North America, the Spanish, the early pioneers of European exploration and colonization, were extending their reach into the southern and western regions of the continent. Driven by a thirst for gold, a desire to convert native populations to Catholicism, and a determination to counter the growing influence of other European powers, the Spanish left an indelible mark on the landscape and culture of what would become the American Southwest. The Spanish exploration of North America began in the 16th century with Ponce de Leon's search for the Fountain of Youth in Florida and Hernando de Soto's brutal expedition through the southeastern United States. These early ventures, driven by a quest for gold and glory, often resulted in violent clashes with Native American tribes and ultimately failed to establish permanent settlements. The Spanish approach to colonization differed significantly from that of the English or French. They established missions, led by Franciscan friars, tasked with converting Native Americans to Catholicism and teaching them European farming techniques. These missions, often built with forced Native American labor, became centers of religious and cultural exchange, albeit often under coercive conditions. Alongside the missions, the Spanish established presidios, military forts designed to protect their claims from rival European powers and Native American resistance. These presidios, often strategically located along trade routes or near valuable resources, became the seeds of future cities, marking the Spanish presence long after their colonial empire had faded. Section 5. The Seeds of Future Conflicts, Colonial Rivalries and Shifting Alliances. The arrival of multiple European powers in North America set the stage for a complex and often volatile geopolitical landscape. The English, French, Dutch, and Spanish, each with their own ambitions, strategies, and alliances, viewed each other with suspicion and rivalry, their interactions a delicate dance of diplomacy, competition, and, increasingly, conflict. The fur trade, a lucrative enterprise that fueled the ambitions of both the French and English, became a source of particular tension. The French, with their vast trading network and alliances with Native American tribes, controlled much of the interior. The English, eager to expand their own fur trade and secure access to valuable resources, resented this French dominance, their rivalry spilling over into a series of wars that would embroil North America for decades. These colonial rivalries often played out in the complex and ever-shifting alliances between European powers and Native American tribes. The French, relying heavily on Native American allies for trade and military support, often found themselves drawn into intertribal conflicts, their presence exacerbating existing tensions. The English, while also seeking alliances with certain tribes, often viewed Native Americans as obstacles to their expansion, their desire for land and resources fueling conflict. These shifting alliances and simmering rivalries created a climate of uncertainty and volatility in North America. The balance of power could shift rapidly, with alliances forged and broken, treaties signed and violated, as European powers and Native American tribes alike maneuvered for advantage in this new world order. The seeds of future conflicts, wars that would redraw the map of North America and shape the destiny of nations, were sown in these early decades of colonial rivalry and shifting alliances. As the 17th century drew to a close, colonial America transformed profoundly. Settlements grew into sprawling colonies, populations swelling with new immigrants seeking the American dream. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 emboldened the colony's sense of independence and desire for self-governance. Colonists built lives and communities determined to shape their own destiny. Rich in resources, the colonies became vital to the English economy. The late 17th century saw a rise in colonial pride and a distinct American identity. The quest for self-governance found expression in the growing power of colonial assemblies. These elected bodies became forums for debate, dissent, and the articulation of a distinctly American political identity. They became training grounds for future leaders, honing their skills in statecraft and negotiation. Dominated by wealthy landowners and merchants, they reflected colonial social hierarchies. Yet, they also provided a platform for ordinary colonists to air grievances and participate politically. This participatory nature contrasted with the autocratic systems of Europe. Assemblies shaped colonial life, enacting laws, levying taxes, and overseeing land distribution. They served as a check on the power of royal governors, laying the groundwork for future conflicts. The 17th century saw the rise of the Atlantic world, a network of trade, migration, and cultural exchange. Driven by European demand for sugar and tobacco, this trade shaped economies and societies. Millions of Africans were forcibly transported, fueling plantation economies in the Americas. European settlers brought diverse cultures, creating a melting pot in the Americas. The transatlantic slave trade left a legacy of racism and inequality. Indigenous populations were decimated by disease, warfare, and land loss. African traditions blended with European and indigenous cultures, creating new forms. The exchange of ideas fueled the Enlightenment, emphasizing reason and liberty. Section 4. The Evolving Institution of Slavery, a darkening shadow over the colonies. The institution of slavery, which had arrived in the English colonies in 1619 with the arrival of the first Africans in Virginia, underwent a dramatic transformation during the 17th century. Initially, Africans had arrived as indentured servants, their legal status often ambiguous, their paths to freedom sometimes possible. However, as the demand for labor intensified, driven by the expansion of tobacco, rice, and indigo cultivation, the institution of slavery became increasingly entrenched, its tentacles reaching into every facet of colonial life. By the late 17th century, slavery had become racialized, with Africans and their descendants legally defined as chattel property, their humanity denied, their lives and labor controlled by their white masters. The slave codes enacted by colonial legislatures codified this brutal system, stripping enslaved people of their basic rights and freedoms, denying them access to education, legal recourse, and even the right to family. The growth of the transatlantic slave trade fueled this expansion of slavery, with ships arriving from Africa laden with human cargo, their holds reeking of despair and the unfulfilled dreams of freedom. The profits generated by this trade enriched European merchants, colonial planters, and the coffers of empires, while the human cost, measured in shattered lives, broken families, and the denial of basic human dignity, remains incalculable. The institution of slavery cast a long and dark shadow over the colonies, shaping their economies, societies, and political structures. It created a deep and enduring racial divide, poisoning relations between black and white Americans for centuries to come. It also fostered a culture of violence, exploitation, and white supremacy that would continue to plague the nation long after slavery itself was abolished. The 17th century gave way to the 18th. The English colonies stood at a crossroads. They had weathered early settlement challenges and established self-governance. Yet their legacies were complex and contradictory. Resilience and ingenuity marked their journey, but so did brutality and exploitation. The road ahead was fraught with challenges. The seeds of greatness and division were sown. The 18th century would be transformative. Reflections on a transformative era. As the 17th century ended, North America, once a tapestry of indigenous cultures, was forever altered by European powers. Exploration, ambition, and conflict marked the birth of a new world order. English colonies grew, their destinies intertwined with the land and its native inhabitants. From Jamestown to bustling ports, the century witnessed hardship and resilience. Colonists faced wilderness, disease, and war, building a new society. They endured, adapted, and thrived, laying foundations for a new nation. The century forged a distinct American character, shaped by frontier challenges and self-reliance. Slavery's introduction cast a dark shadow, threatening principles of liberty and justice. As the new century dawned, the colonies faced both promise and peril. Seeds of self-governance sprouted, challenging monarchs and empires. Ideals of liberty and equality took root, setting the stage for future struggles. The forging of an American identity, from scattered colonies to a unified spirit. A distinct American identity emerged in the 17th century, forged in everyday lives and shared experiences. Despite vast distances and diverse backgrounds, a common spirit and shared purpose emerged. Shaped by frontier challenges, colonists relied on ingenuity, hard work, and community. This spirit defined the American character, a source of pride and resilience. As colonies grew more self-sufficient, they questioned colonial subservience. The Glorious Revolution fueled autonomy and a belief in self-governance. Yet, contradictions like slavery and treatment of Native Americans revealed a darker side to the colonial enterprise. Section 3. The enduring legacy of conflict and cooperation, shaping the nation's DNA. The 17th century in North America was a story written in both blood and ink. Conflict over land, resources, and power shaped the destiny of nations. The clash between European and Native American cultures lay at the heart of many conflicts. Colonists clashed with Native American tribes over land and sovereignty. These brutal conflicts had a profound impact on both sides. Native American tribes faced displacement and loss of traditional ways of life. Yet there were moments of cooperation and mutual respect. Trade networks fostered interdependence and cultural exchange. The first Thanksgiving was a testament to compassion and cooperation. Section 4. The paradox of progress, balancing liberty and inequality in a land of opportunity. The 17th century in North America was a time of remarkable progress, a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. The colonies grew into thriving centers of commerce and agriculture, their populations swelling with each passing year. However, this dream was often built on a foundation of inequality and exploitation. The institution of slavery cast a long and dark shadow over the colonies, undermining the principles of liberty and equality. The colonists wrestled with this paradox of progress, this tension between liberty and inequality. This inherent contradiction would become a defining characteristic of the American experience. It would fuel future movements for social justice and continue to challenge the nation to strive for a more just society. Section 5. The Unfinished Symphony, echoes of the 17th century in the modern age. The 17th century may seem distant, a time of wooden ships and religious zealotry, yet its echoes shape our institutions, values, and national identity. Colonialism's legacies challenge us to reconcile our past with our present. Self-governance roots from town meetings laid democratic foundations. Principles of representative government and liberty stem from colonial times. Colonial economic systems shaped the capitalist economy of the United States. Cultural diversity in the colonies laid the groundwork for a multicultural society. Assimilation challenges and racism are part of the colonial legacy. Section 6. The Power of Perspective, understanding the past to navigate the present. The study of history is not merely an exercise in nostalgia. It is a powerful tool for understanding the present and navigating the modern world. By examining past choices, we appreciate today's challenges and opportunities. The 17th century offers lessons for the modern world. It reminds us that progress is rarely linear and choices have far-reaching consequences. The colonial experience teaches the importance of understanding different perspectives. Balancing liberty with communal responsibility is crucial. Studying the 17th century deepens our appreciation for today's complexities. Section 7. A legacy forged, a future unwritten, the enduring relevance of America's colonial roots. As we stand at the dawn of a new millennium, the 17th century in North America may seem distant. Yet its legacies shape our institutions and values. The colonists' stories offer lessons for today. The American experiment in democracy is ongoing, written in the lives of ordinary people. Their challenges resonate in the 21st century. Their successes and failures offer insights. The story continues, its future shaped by us.